to you for 10 minutes, 5 minutes or something. Like if you were famous and you said hi, the idea of having a piece of paper with your name on it, I never understood.
I got a picture with Junior Seau, and I cried.
You cried?
Junior Seau was my favorite player growing up.
Wow. That's interesting.
Which always upsets my brother. Jason, you're my favorite player. But like Junior Seau was the guy to me. So I came up like in my Facebook memories yesterday. I like saved it again. You can tell I was crying because I'm like,
That's funny. Greg Jennings, Packers host the Rams this weekend, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing, Fox Sports NFL analyst, 10 years in the NFL. So Green Bay, it just feels like warm weather L.A., Jared Goff's hands all messed up, and I feel like, oh, my God, this is just a bad spot for the Rams to be in. Now, here's the downside to Green Bay is you've been in these spots. You're a big favorite. You're off a bye. You could be a little rusty. Tell us what it's like to be in that spot for Green Bay right now. Hey, can't wait till you guys win this game and move on to face blank in the NFC Championship. Is that something you have to fight in Green Bay occasionally?
You do, because all the expectations are there for you to move on. Like, everyone believes that Green Bay should win this game, and they will win this game. And so when you have that type of expectation, and it's not just outside the locker room, this is how they believe within that locker room. And so they know the position that they're in. And to be frank, Aaron Rodgers, we don't know how many more opportunities like this he has to have this type of team to be able to accomplish what's in front of him, which is a Super Bowl championship. We don't know his window. And so you got to take advantage of it right now. So they understand that. And I believe the Rams are on the other end of it, looking at it like, look, we weren't supposed to be here. And they're going to think that we're a LA team. We're not accustomed or we can't become acclimated to the weather. None of that really matters when you get to the playoffs. It's all about just taking those 3 hours that you have to play, locking in and executing as best as you can. And whoever out-executes their opponent in these playoffs for those 3 hours plus, they typically win the ball game.
You know, it's interesting. There's been a lot of upsets. I just talked about Peyton Manning, 13-3, losing as a 9-point favorite to Flacco. The Patriots, 9-point favorite, losing to Mark Sanchez. Big Ben, 9-point favorite, losing to Jacksonville. Last year, Baltimore. So it's funny when it comes to upsets, Greg. This is so weird. As a television viewer, I always feel like if an upset's going to happen, you can sense it in the first two drives. You just feel like, oh, that line of scrimmage is an issue. What will I have to see by the Rams for you to think, oh, boy, this is not good for Green Bay?
Well, it'll be them getting off to a slow start. And what that means is them not being able to move the ball methodically. And here's the reasons why that would happen. Because, number one, the Rams can get pressure from an interior perspective because of Aaron Donald. He's going to garner so much attention, and then that leaves Leonard Floyd and the others on the edge to then secure that edge and pass rush from there. You try to confine Aaron Rodgers to the pocket. You have Jalen Ramsey who can match up on the perimeter against your best receiver. And then you have other guys, Darius Williams, Troy Hill, all these pieces that have played really well in pressure situations. They haven't been in this type of situation, but they have performed. And so when you look at that, if they can stifle this offense early and often and disrupt their rhythm and timing, you got to believe, because they adjust well. When you look at Brandon Staley, he adjusts every single possession. He doesn't wait to the second half. He doesn't wait to the second quarter. He assesses, and he's always trying to be a step ahead so his players know what's coming. And that's what I really like about this Rams defense versus the Green Bay offense. And that's what I'm most fearful of for the Packers, because when you haven't played that rhythm, it might take a minute for you to find it. And if you can't find it right away, you may never find it. I've been in that situation. Colin, you know this. When we've had the bye and we were 15-1 and the Giants came in and we just never could get our footing. The expectation was for us to steamroll these guys or just beat them, and we never could get our footing. We were an explosive offense, and we sputtered out the gates, and we never got it going.
Yeah, no, I remember that team. And again, it was the Giants' defensive front getting Aaron a little off his spot, and that's all it takes. Because yeah, go ahead.
And I'll say this: a lot of people don't like to talk about pressure. And Aaron Rodgers does have the pressure on him to perform well. And this is why. And I'm not saying he can't meet the expectations, because he typically does. But this is the reason why Aaron Rodgers has to perform well. If he doesn't, he is their best player, period. If he does not perform well, meaning play a flawless game, that doesn't mean he has to throw for 300-plus yards and 4 touchdowns, but he has to play flawless. What does that look like? That means get rid of the ball, help his offensive line, because they are going to be under duress all night long or all afternoon when it comes to that front seven. And so he's going to have to get rid of the ball, make decisions, be decisive, win with his legs, and continue to move the ball and score when they're in the red zone. That's how you beat this Rams defense. You're not going to get a bunch of chunk plays, but when they are there, you got to capitalize.
By the way, Sean McVay is something like 36-0 when he leads at half. So Green Bay comes out off a bye, little slow. What you don't want to do is fall behind at half, because McVay's never lost when he leads at half. So Urban Meyer goes to the Jags. And Joy and I were just talking about this. If I was Urban Meyer, first of all, it's going to be a young roster. He's going to be very good in the college personnel game in draft, because this is what he knows. That's what Pete Carroll did. These college coaches, they do pretty well in the draft. Matt Rule, by the way, Carolina had a pretty good draft. So my guess is he's going to have a fairly young team, Trevor Lawrence, a lot of draft picks. That will work to his advantage. But let me ask you, for the 15 to 20 veteran players on that Jacksonville roster, will they be cynical or skeptical of a iconic college coach coming in?
I'm going to go on the side of saying no, because when you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they haven't experienced success. A lot of these guys aren't still there from when they had the success a few years back, when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they got to the AFC Championship game. So you have a lot of turnover since then. And when you have that type of turnover, you just want to have a coach that gets it. And Urban Meyer gets it. He's not one of these coaches that, I get it, he's coming from college, but he's all